Hey everyone, this is Ashwin and welcome to my design patterns series. So, what I realized was that many a times people are not able to find the right uh, resources to maybe get industrial understanding of where and when to use design patterns. So, this is just my attempt to go ahead and explain these things to you. So, let's get started with design patterns. We will be working mainly with Java, but these design patterns do apply to most object-oriented languages. So let's move on. So first thing, why are we doing this? Why design patterns, right? The main reason is so that we can introduce some sort of modularity and abstraction to our implementations, so that we can reuse patterns of implementing particular codes in various situations. Let's say you mostly and most in the most ideal situations, you will have code that is so general that it applies to pretty much any sort of input and any sort of output, right? That and does the thing that you want. That is the most ideal scenario, but that's obviously not usually possible. So what we do is, for many most commonly faced problems in object-oriented development that we saw, we tend to have developed some sort of generalized theoretical solution to it. So now let's say what happens is there's so many ways to code when we face a particular problem, let's say of global variables, for example. And you may, let's say as a developer, you only intend for your teammates to be able to access one copy of some sort of data, or access multiple copies of a particular class. So let's say you intend for your teammates to only be able to use the class that you developed in a particular manner and no other manner. And generally, this is where things like singletons come in, or factories, or thread pools, or object pools. Sorry. So these situations where your particular implementation is not exactly how the object-oriented principles work, many a times design patterns can be used to either restrict or guide another developer to be able to follow your code better. Again, as we've already mentioned, it is about the repeatable solutions to all the commonly occurring problems, and just to generalize implementations, right? Okay, moving on. So there's three types of design patterns. There are a few others, but these are the three main ones that are core to object-oriented programming. So these are the creational ones, structural, and behavioral. So first, creational. When we think about creational, there's singleton. So we'll be going through all of these one by one throughout the series. We're starting off with creational, then structural, and then behavioral. So looking at creational, we'll be looking at singleton and a couple of its implementations, then the factory pattern builder, and so on. The structural are, so again, just going back to creational, what this means is how to best create a sort of an instance of any object. What is the best way of creation? So that's where we look at the creational patterns. And the next is structural, how to structure your implementation as such. For example, using your proxy, that may mean that you have a object that behaves like another object for you to be able to use, like an interface. So it's the interface between you and the actual object that you're implementing. So that's the proxy. So these are structural design patterns. The next is behavioral design patterns. So if you would take, for example, a template where um, your object is a very complex object, but because it's so complex and its implementations could be numerous, what you do is you design a template for that object so that it is you allow your user, whoever is going to be using this object, this class, you give them a template to be able to use, so they get up and running straight away. So that is your template. No. So that's all for now. This is the introductory video, and so next video we will be starting with the creational patterns, namely the singleton. So I hope to see you guys in the next video. If you like this explanation, please leave comments and maybe like and subscribe to my channel. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you guys have a great day ahead of you. See you guys in the next video.